Good afternoon, everyone. This is Nivedita Lahiri from Counsel Academy, welcoming you all who have joined us today at Counsel Academy's October event. We organize these monthly educational events for our students, parents, educators, and others. And every month, we hope to invite experts who will be enlightening us about various topics. Today's Counsel Academy's first monthly event, hence it's very special. For this special event, we will have an interactive discussion on parenting teenagers. As we know, this transition or adolescence is a very important yet challenging phase in the human growth stages. Children go through a difficult time managing their hormones, leading to physiological and psychological changes. Not only for the children, this phase is also a challenge for their parents as well. And parents have a very critical role to play in shaping the kids' future life. Hence, to discuss these issues, we have here with us Miss Debbie Stutz, the founder and CEO of Little Hearts Academy USA. She is referred to as DJ for short, and she likes her name that way. For her, life is full of joy, and parenting is no exception. She believes that raising children is rewarding but can be hard work, especially during challenging stages like adolescence. She has an immense love for children of all ages and fully understands the challenges and concerns that come with parenting them. She is the mother of five and grandmother of 12. And professionally, DJ has more than 20 years of classroom teaching experience. She has also spent 16 years as a parenting facilitator for the Division of Family and Youth Services and led workshops in a wide variety of venues, including schools, libraries, community centers, homeless shelters, and two women's prisons. DJ understands what it takes to help parents develop the confidence and peace to be a great parent, an imperfect hero raising independent, productive, and successful children. Anyone from the audience, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask by typing your questions in the comments. Or if you are watching our recorded version, you can always comment on the YouTube link, and DJ is going to answer them for you. You can also directly email to her. We are going to share her email ID with you as well. And if you have any opinion about our event, please share that as well. So it's my pleasure to welcome DJ to our event on parenting teenagers.
Hey everyone, it's so nice to be a part of this today. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So, hi DJ, welcome to Counsel Academy's October event. Today we'll be discussing something that is of great educative value to the parents of teens and would-be teens. Since you're an expert and have been working with children of different age groups for more than a decade, I do have some questions to ask you. Parents attending our event have also been invited online or offline to ask if they have any questions for you. So the first question that immediately comes to my mind from a parent's perspective, of course, is why is teenage a dreaded age for both parents and teens themselves? I'm not sure if the dreaded word is appropriate here, but in simpler words, why do parents feel that raising a teenager is challenging?
That's a great question, and thanks for asking it. I think that a big part of this is just social. Everyone talks about, oh, teenagers. It's kind of like how people talk about, oh, the terrible twos, right? And so I think we generally get what we expect. We have parents who really enjoy their teen years with their kids, and others who find it extremely challenging. And so I think their own attitude is going to have a lot to do with it. Part of the job of a teenager is to assert their independence. They're getting very close to becoming adults and being hopefully very independent. We don't want them in our basement till they're 45. So,
Right.
yeah. So, and so it's hard for us as a parent because, we want them to be successful adults and to have that decision making process go on, but they're still our babies. And sometimes it's hard to let go. And we often do not like to be challenged. ourselves. And they challenge us, but that's their job. That's what they're supposed to be doing, actually, is giving that challenging, trying out new ideas, new thoughts. And then also, we have a thing in our society where society, through the media, the screens, friends at school, all of this, they're filling their heads with ideas that we can see are going to be counterproductive. And so when they say certain things, we're like, no, that's terrible. Please don't say that. Right. And, but it's important for us to not argue and not to panic, but just to listen to them.
Mhm. Absolutely, I totally agree with your point of view. Basically, it's expected and actually a healthy progression. What
Mm-hmm.
you said, we don't want them to be in our basement for 45 years. Exactly. That's right. So, asserting independence, arguing it with parents, having an independent opinion should be taken as normal and healthy.
Yeah.
Unless definitely it goes beyond a limit and it doesn't sound good. That's a separate story. But
Right.
and as for parents, rather than panicking and arguing back, understanding them is the key. That's
Right.
what I get from what you said.
Yes.
So, DJ, while talking about understanding them, so which is the key thing here, often I have heard from other parents that their even tween, even
Mm-hmm.
like 9, 10 year olds, they don't want to talk to the parents. If the kids don't communicate with the parents, that would be a major problem. Then they won't learn anything from the parents then. So, my next question to you is, in this case, how should parents start up a serious conversation with a teenager so that they would be interested to participate in?
Well, I think Stephen Covey, in the Habits of Successful People, he talked about seek first to understand. And I think that's where we need to start, is rather than lecturing them or pushing our opinion on them, but seek first to listen to them. I don't think I know. A lot of teens don't talk to their parents because they feel like their parents aren't going to listen to them. And they felt like that from experience. So make sure that we're just there first off to truly listen and not argue with them. And the work that you've done in the previous years as they've been growing up and coming up in your home is going to have a lot to do with that success. And so you want to start early on, before they're teenagers, to listen to them and get them used to being listened to and having that conversation. Another thing is that just don't take what they say personally, um,
Sometimes it's very
especially
difficult.
yeah,
Sometimes it's very difficult.
yeah, especially when they get personal, right? So they may be getting personal with you, but you, as long as you don't take it that way, and say, wow, that's really interesting that you said that. Let's talk about where you came from, or take them quite literally. So for a few years while I lived in Las Vegas, I did teach some high school, and I found that when I didn't get upset with all the little things that they would do, a high school student would do to set off their teacher and get themselves in trouble and be cool in front of the class, that when I would just take it and say, oh, well, that's an interesting thought, and take it quite literally, um,
Right.
and throw it back on them, it just really was better. And I actually wound up with a great reputation within the students. And so you admit, I think, up front, that you understand this is a difficult conversation. And that's another thing, is that, gosh, I know this is a hard thing for parents and kids to talk about, or maybe it's a hard thing for you to talk about or for me to talk about, but let them know up front that you understand this might be a tough conversation, but I have faith in your maturity to handle this, and that we'll be able to get through it.
So, showing
And
respect, you mean showing respect to them.
yes, yes. And sometimes they will try to end the conversation by being disrespectful,
Um,
right? Because then they understand, like, oh, if I say this, they'll get mad and stomp out. And so if you can say something like, wow, I'm sorry you feel that way, or that's a really interesting point of view, how did you get there? And they don't see that they're getting the rise out of you, that practice will come to a conclusion as you go. And even though there are going to be times when you have to make a decision that goes against what they want,
Mm-hmm.
right? So just express your understanding that I know this is hard and I know this isn't the outcome that you really wanted, but I really appreciate the effort that I know you're going to make to help this work and to help our family work through this. Um, but recognizing, I think sometimes we just say, nope, we're going to do it, and it's
Right.
like, I know this isn't the outcome you wanted, and I wish I could be closer to where you are, but for right now, this is where we have to be.
Mm-hmm.
And again, don't respond to if they get angry or whatever. It's just like, well, I can see that, it's hard for you and we're still moving forward or whatever. But recognize, and I think when kids see that, at least my parents recognize this is hard for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's right. I mean, what I get from your words is that, again, as we discussed before, understanding is the key. Maturity of the parents. That's very
Mm-hmm.
important. Again, the process of understanding it's a process. Again, it's a process,
Yeah.
as we say. It should start from a younger age.
Right.
Appreciation of their efforts to communicate. So that does give them a sense of being respected. I think that really works, because if
Yeah.
someone feels appreciated, if someone feels that irrespective of what age I am, excuse me, I'm still respected. So
Right.
that is really that helps a lot. So great suggestions, and I would like to highlight them for the parents who are attending our discussion live, or those parents who might be watching us later. So these are the points of this question.
That's so cool.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to highlight the points so that, whoever are watching, if they're not watching the entire discussion, they can get
Mm-hmm.
the idea of what we are talking about. So, yeah, as we were discussing, it's always important to know the right things
Mm-hmm.
in the right situation.
Yeah.
But I also feel that the other side of the story should be discussed as well for a
Mm-hmm.
more complete knowledge. In other words, what are the things parents of teenagers should not do while dealing with them? I think that's the next question that comes to my mind.
And again, a great question. There are several things that parents do unknowingly. They really don't mean to set off their kids, but it just happens. So, again, I'm going to go back to don't take things personally. If your kid says something that sets you off or that triggers you, or they know it's going to make you mad, surprise them and don't let it make you mad, and do that. Um, and don't just, this is the law, this is how it is. Even though you do have some times where you're going to have to say, yeah, we can't go with what you want. I'm sorry, but make sure that they have felt heard, and you're talking back to, not back to them, but back with them, repeating back what they're saying, and trying to understand their point of view. One thing I see that happens quite often is giving ultimatums that you cannot live with.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're grounded for 3 weeks. Well, that means you're stuck with them for 3 weeks.
Mm.
And sometimes that's as hard on the parent as it is on the kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Or if you say, you're never going to see your iPad again or whatever. Well, they know you're going to. You're never going to see that friend. Now, can you control that? Can you control if they ever see that friend again? And the answer is no. Because now they're at school, and sometimes they're going to be in the same class with these friends,
Mhm.
and you can't control that. So don't give ultimatums that you cannot live with. It's not going to work. Another thing is, please don't try to be their friend. You become friendlier
Yeah.
as they get older, right? But there's still times when you've got to say, no, you're not drinking in this house, right?
Mhm.
No, you're not having the huge party.
Yeah. No, there should be, I feel there should be a fine line between laying, as you mentioned, like laying the rules should not be done, but they should be told that there's certain disciplines or rules in this house which we all, it's not only them, we all need to follow.
Right. And again, I think that goes back to, have you set up the stage for this? Have they
Right.
known all along that you're not going to allow drinking in the house? Have
Mhm.
they known all along that you're not going to allow certain activities or behaviors that they go against our family values? And if you've talked to them from the time they are little about the values and the morals that you want them to have, they're going to go and understand. Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I had to try. I've had kids tell me that too. My sons, I knew you were going to say no, but I had to try. So that's okay. And then don't go soft on your values and your morals. Just say, we've been talking about this our whole lives. This is where our family stands. And I am so glad that you're um, reaching out, you're rethinking things. And, but here, in our home, we're not going to do X, Y, or Z. You
Right.
certainly have the option to do that when it's your home. Once you're 18 and you're out, that's your life, man.
Yeah.
You live it the way you need to. But right now, these are the values that our family holds dear.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, this is an extremely important information, and I feel that parents of all teens and would be teens, of course, we should add them too, even
Yep.
younger kids would benefit from. Again, starting early is always the key. The earlier we start, the values get ingrained in
Yeah.
their minds. And
Yeah.
again, like putting myself in their shoes, I always like to put myself in the shoes of both the sides I'm talking about so that I can feel, try to feel. I won't be able to feel exactly, but trying to remember my own teenage days, I would
Mm-hmm.
be really frustrated if laws were laid down to me, and that too without offering an explanation of why.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens many times that parents say, okay, so this is the rule and you have to follow it.
Yeah.
I myself, as a teenager, would say, why? I would be very satisfied if they gave me an explanation. Okay, this is the reason. I do that to my own children. I tell them this is the reason why I'm telling you not to do it. And many a times they're still not teens yet. They are tweens,
Mm-hmm.
but
Okay.
they are okay with that. They don't argue because I
Yeah.
give them a reason.
Well, and they're growing up earlier and earlier, it seems like things
Yeah,
that the tweens are doing, I wasn't even thinking about even in high school. So
right.
it's
Yeah,
changing.
yeah. The social, thanks to the social media and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So at the same time, I feel it's also important for the kids to learn and appreciate the discipline of the household. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So striking that fine balance, the fine line, is often the key to a healthy parent-child relationship at this age. So it's the relationship is very important. So they both the sides feel respected. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what you mean actually. So I would, again, for the parents, I would highlight this very important point so that they can watch later. Nice. So, DJ, thanks for sharing these golden nuggets. They are really important and very useful. So, it's important to have a healthy parent-child relationship,
Yeah.
as we were discussing, because
Mm-hmm.
it benefits the children so much as they get proper information from a well-meaning experienced source. Like if they just talk to their friends and not talk to their parents, they will learn, half-baked half truths. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that kids don't know anything, but again, they don't have experience. They're not as
Right.
old as the parents, right?
Right.
And learning about the right things often come with an active participation of growing children in the family chores and decisions. So yeah, based on this thought comes my next question to you, is that what are the tips to get adolescents involved with the family? Often they don't want to do
Yeah.
anything and they want to stay in their own shell, right? So
Right.
this is something I guess many parents would want to know how to deal with this.
Yeah. That's a great question too. And you're going to find this is kind of a reoccurring theme. It's going to be harder to get them involved if you haven't made a point of doing this all along. If they haven't been involved all along. I remember, I mean, I'm the oldest of seven, five brothers. They were all in sports. Football was the big one. And it never even occurred to me to not go and watch one of their games or be supportive of whatever they were doing. And they would come to mine. I did track and field and stuff. But it was just part of our family culture from the time we were very young, is that this is what we do. And so we did it. you know and so if you've done it all along, you're going to have an easier time with it, honestly, than if all of a sudden you just say, oh, family values and things aren't going right, so we're going to change things. So that's going to be a kind of hard thing. Another thing that you can do is choose activities that are of interest to them, things that they enjoy doing. And so I don't care if it's going to a hockey game or soccer or certain kinds of movies or whatever it is. Do things that they want to do. I can tell you that I have an uncle, and he's Mr. Sports. He played college football, and it was all very important to him. And his daughter wanted to play soccer. He didn't know anything about soccer. He never went to her games. Soccer didn't interest him. Well, she started having some behavior problems. And of course, they run to the therapist, and it came out that she was upset that she went to all her that my uncle went to all her brother's games and not to hers.
Oh, that's not, that's, yeah.
Right. So be sure to support them in the activities that interest them. Be sure to find a way to just laugh with them. Um, Life has a lot of things that give us that we can just laugh hysterically at. And so, but if you can laugh with them, things are going to calm down, and they're going to want to be with someone who gets the joke, right? And
Right.
then realize it doesn't need to be a big activity. It doesn't have to be this big ski trip or whatever. Um, it can be things like letting them plan the menu for the week with their favorite foods. And instead of doing chores, this is your chore list and you have to do this or that, it's yours together. So go with them and clean their room. Trust me, they'll clean it a lot faster if you're there. They don't want you in their stuff. But if you're working on the car, or if they are working on the yard or whatever, go out and do it with them. And then you're going to start building those relationships that
Yes.
will really come together.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, am I right to understand that the key is in involving them in some of the decision making processes in the family? I think
Yeah.
that's really important. And again, what we were discussing before is that gives them a sense of importance as being the
Mm-hmm.
member, irrespective of what age they are of, and
Yeah.
not only doing the regular chores but also enjoyable activities. Planning, some planning for a trip, planning for something very
Mm-hmm.
something very simple,
Yeah.
something involving them in everyday activities.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I would like to highlight these points again for parents to see.
Okay.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, now actually I have been waiting to ask this very important question. I think this is what I'm going to ask is definitely one of the most important ones, and that also always circles in my mind. So again, this is a big challenge for the parents, deciding the right time, right age, the right moment to start this particular conversation. However, this is an absolutely essential topic, I still feel. So how early should parents start discussing puberty with their growing child?
I love that question. Yeah, and it the opinions vary, but the medical opinions and the therapeutic opinions are not that wide spread early. When they start noticing that their parts are different from mom and dad's or from maybe a sibling, it's when the kids are little, you just throw them all in the tub at the same time. It's not girls this time, boys this time, but it's their get in the tub. We got to get you clean, right? And when they start noticing, oh, wait, mine doesn't match, then you can start having that conversation just about that's you're a boy, she's a girl, or you're a girl, he's a boy. And that's some of the differences. Using correct terms, you know, for body parts is going to be key. But, and then just speak in a normal tone of voice, like it isn't a big deal that they noticed, or, it's like, oh, yeah, you noticed that. Yep. And this is this. Um, and then once they start into elementary school, questions are going to come up. I mean, I taught kindergarten and I would hear kids,
Kindergarten? I mean, yeah, talking about the parts of the body. Yeah.
their body parts. Yeah. They would, and you pick up on those conversations and stuff. And, with stuff that's going on in the schools now, that's even becoming more and more prevalent and stuff. And so it's going to be really important that you're having those conversations even before they go in, just about the differences and about their body, and that they're comfortable, and they just understand that these are things. Now, by third and fourth grade, you're going to have kids that are already starting into puberty, whether it's your child, or maybe it's a friend. I remember in third grade, we had a girl that started her period when we were in third. I was 16 when I started mine. So, I mean, a huge difference. But, once kids start going through that, and some kids do start going through earlier, it's going to become a topic of conversation, of curiosity. And so chances are that if you're not talking to them about what their bodies are going through, what their friends' bodies are going to, their friends are talking to them about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and two, they need to know what to expect. I mean, long gone are the days. I know my mom, and gosh, she would be almost 90 now if she was still alive. So it's been a long time. But when she started her period, no one had told her anything about it. She thought she was dying.
Yeah.
And her parents were out. They weren't home. Her brother was there. And her brother, back in the day, had to help her kind of through it. And he was an older brother. And so they really do need to know what to expect and what are some of the surprises, that may come along. And then be really open and non-judgmental to their questions. And that goes back to even the question we had earlier about how to get your kids to talk to you. If they come to you with something that is really important to them, and you're like, oh, well, or whatever,
they'll never, they'll just,
yeah. And if they say, oh, I heard this, or I'm thinking that, oh, okay, well, where did you hear it? And what are you thinking? And you may find that by getting that information before you answered, you may be answering the totally wrong thing. It's not what they were asking, and maybe giving them more or less detail than what they were looking for. Then if you kind of say, where did that question come from? What are you thinking? And what are you looking for? And so, being open and matter of fact with all of these things is going to have a big impact on their willingness to come to you later on too.
Absolutely, absolutely. This I can't agree more to this as a parent, because I think that's perfect. Because if they don't get it from an experienced and knowledgeable source like the parents, they'll get some incomplete and half-baked information from their own students.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. It's okay. So yeah, they are going to get that information from their inexperienced peers, and those half truths are deadlier than they could get wrong information.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think for the parents it's very important to keep an open mind, as you said. Welcome what they, having an open conversation with them, be non-judgmental. They just back off if they think that, oh, I don't know what my mom or dad will think if I say something like this.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, if they know what to expect, like if the parents already talk to them about puberty, about what changes they're going to expect, it makes their life so much smoother, and
Yeah.
and so much well planned. So yeah, so it's rightly said that being open and non-judgmental would open them up, and they would be comfortable to ask questions, and
Right.
communication is always the key
Right.
to uh, to a healthy relationship. So yeah, I would definitely love to share these points with the parents as well. Great points, great points. So I guess these were actually the major questions I had in my mind. And if any of the parents have any questions, they can always, write in the comment box. Our This event will be there on YouTube. So if they have any questions, they can always write down the questions, and DJ is going to answer them. DJ can They can always write to you.
Yes.
I'm sharing your email from this
Great.
teacher, and it has her email ID, so they can always write to you and ask anything they want.
Great.
Right. So I do think that what DJ shared with us today would be a very important guide to build a healthy relationship with our growing children as they develop into mature adults. And yeah, so this pretty much brings us to the end of the event. So thank you for covering all these very important questions. I think all most of the parents have the similar questions in their minds. And thank you, DJ, for the very enlightening points you gave us about parenting and supporting children in this crucial point of their lives. And I hope parents in our audience will benefit a lot from these. DJ's organization, Little Hearts Academy USA, provides parenting coaching and support for children of different age groups. And anyone who is interested could listen to her podcast, very educational. So you can listen anytime. You can sign up. And it's been an honor of having you on the Counsel Academy platform, DJ. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'd also like to offer, if anyone wants to just have a free 50-minute consultation with me, they can always just email me and we'll make those arrangements.
That's amazing. So, a great resource for parents. And thank you all who have attended our event live. And others who couldn't can always watch the recording, as I already mentioned, through the same link. So, as mentioned, DJ has this free gift for the guests. And whoever is interested, she'll be offering a 50 minutes of free consultation. We will be back in November with our next live event. And to get updates and news about our events and other services of Counsel Academy, please subscribe to our channel and our website so you'll keep on getting these news and updates. Thank you all very much for attending, and I wish you a wonderful weekend.
Bye.
Bye.